Good morning, everybody. First, thanks to the IFA for inviting me. This is a great honor to represent veteran franchise owners. So I'm just completely honored that they asked me to come and speak to veterans. My military background, I was assigned to an International Guard unit. It's called Hometown Air Force, the 182nd. That patch right there, I wore on my arm for 10 years. There's two things I'm really passionate about. It's franchising, Radio Shack, and the military. First job I had, I was a armament systems mechanic. I was a bomb loader. And one important thing that the military has done for us is it instills, a sense of purpose. And when I told my dad, hey, I'm going to be a bomb loader, first thing he said is, you're going to kill somebody. So I went into basic training like, am I really going to kill somebody? But the military gave me the tools and the training necessary for me to perform that job, the way it's supposed to. I mean, gave me a great sense of confidence. And that led into the second job to where I was a C-130 loadmaster. They pretty much trusted me with a multi-million-dollar aircraft. I was in charge of everything in the back. Didn't matter what rank you were. If you're a passenger, we called them talking cargo, or loading, gold bullion, transferring from, place to place. But we were in charge and responsible for millions of dollars of aircraft and cargo. The last job I had, I was air transportation chief, and this kind of tied into the Army. A lot of the schools that I had to go to in aerial port, air transportation, I had to take Army schools. I had to go through Army schools. And in those schools, it wasn't just Air Force, it was Marines, Navy, and fabrication aerial delivery loads, rigger school. The Army folks, probably familiar with rigger school. That's the guy that packs your parachute. You're jumping out of an aircraft. He's the one that checks all your rigging. It's pretty important, Went to helicopter sling load training, one of the funnest classes I've ever been to. If you've ever gotten knocked on the head by a helicopter, it's a kind of a life-changing experience. Military education and training. This is your military bag of tricks. Like it or not, you're going to carry with you the rest of your life. And just kind of a snapshot of what I went through, which pretty much most of you went through also, is on-the-job training. Somebody's watching you do your job. You don't do it right, they write it up, they make recommendations, you make corrections. We appreciated that. I appreciated that because the skills that I had to learn were pretty much life and death. I'm sure the same with you all. Putting on your gas mask, that's pretty important, making sure that there's a correct rigging on the aircraft because there's 64 guys jumping out. If it's wrong, their life is in your hands. Survival school. As an aircrew member, I had to go through survival school. Not the funnest training I've went through, but great lessons learned that I'll never forget. They taught me how to get beat up with honor and return with honor. If anybody else has went through that school, you know what I'm talking about. Professional military education, that's the stuff that you get, that you have to do, that you put on the shelf until the last minute, until that line comes open that says you're going to be promoted, then you hurry up and do it. Well, if you remember 5% of the things that are in the professional military education, it will help you through the problems and the strifes that you can have when running a business. Leaders and managers. I know this was touched on before. Through every aspect of your military career, you are put into a leadership position. Basic training. Hey, you're in charge of KP duty. Okay. I mean, it starts then. You're a squad leader. You're in charge of 4 people. I mean, right when you come in the door in basic training. Through your whole military career, they put you in charge. They make you accountable. They make you a leader, and that's very important in the business world. The transition to military to civilian. I've got a short little story here. It is a culture shock. There are differences, but it can be done. And I'm going to give an example. We were building out my first store, and my district manager says, "Hey, when are we going to get this POS done? We need to get this. We need to get on this POS." And I was like, Russell, I was thinking to myself, what is he calling a POS? I mean, in the military, a POS is a piece of, and I'll let you fill in the blank. So I'm like, where is he going with this? So finally I said, Russell, what's a POS? He says, point of sale system. It's your electronic cash register. I was like, okay. But there are challenges, there are differences, and there's new acronyms to learn. Trust but verify. That's a term we always used in the military, especially when you're dealing with life and death. I mean, now you're dealing with money and profits. If there's something important, make sure you get it written down. Seek legal and professional advice. Have somebody else look over what you're going to sign. Research and plan. Use multiple sources. Don't just use the franchise disclosure document. I mean, that's a great tool. That's a great guide. You know, reach out and touch other franchisees. Make sure the franchise that you're looking at is going to suit you, is going to fit you. You know, because a lot of the I shouldn't say a lot, but some of the franchises, it requires a lot of owner activity. You know, a lot of hours, so to speak. I've wanted to go into business for myself for many years, and I actually worked at Radio Shack Corporate before I went into the military, and then went into the military as a traditional guardsman, and then after 5 years, I was full-time military technician for 20 years. And through my military career, I'd always looked at different things that I could possibly do. The way it ended up, the way I actually had the opportunity to buy a franchise at Radio Shack, it was in our local paper. It said, hey, franchise opportunities in Washington, Illinois. I answered the ad. First time I got turned down. A year later, I tried again. I got turned down again. And it wasn't necessarily me. It wasn't the area. It was how their system was written, okay, and my location to a corporate market. So I applied again and again, and used my training that I'd acquired in the military to actually get the job done. Work close with the area developers. And this 2-year journey took a lot of confidence, took a lot of patience, and I think where that came from is the military. And I think you can relate to that. Getting ready for a unit compliance inspection. I know they call them different in different branches of the service, but in the Air Force, when we get ready for a unit compliance inspection, we start 2 years out. As so a lot of the other branches, that's when you get all your paperwork, you dot the I's, you cross the T's. So this definitely helped. I had a lot of patience, and I didn't give up. I didn't quit. You know, I kept pressing on. People told me no, and I wouldn't take no for an answer. I was like, how? It wasn't, okay, we can't do this. It was, okay, how can we get it done? You say we can't get it done, but what do we need to do to get it done? And I finally found those answers. And in doing so, it was actually a blessing in disguise. I was the first VetFran Radio Shack franchise by accident. At that time, I didn't know of the VetFran. Basically, the way Radio Shack proposed it to me, they're like, hey, we give military discounts. I was like, sign me up, you know. Instead of one franchise area, I bought 3. It was actually beneficial that they told me no in the beginning and made me wait, because they came out with this new program a year later, and then that's when I got approved for Radio Shack. It was actually December 16th of 2011. Another thing, because of my military background and my Radio Shack experience, they chose me to be the first royalty model Radio Shack. So that was an honor. That just goes to show you military members, veterans, you know, how much the corporate world thinks of us. You know, they know you have got the tools, and you're the A personality, you've got the independence and the drive to get the job done and get the job done right. Technical orders, technical instructions. We're used to following instructions. Corporate world likes that. The franchise support system, starting with the IFA and VetFran, I wish I knew of the tools now. I wish I knew that back when I was starting my franchise. The VetFran toolbox is very helpful, very helpful. Everything from the Bowfly financing. Basically, you put your information out there. They don't check your credit. They check your profile of thousands of banks, and they match you with lenders. And on the franchise side, these companies, they want you to succeed. They have incredible support networks. Sales, marketing, the point of sale system. I mean, these folks, this is what they do day in and day out. You pick up the phone, you call them, and you get answers, you get help. So the phrase that VetFran uses in business, you know, for yourself but not by yourself, that is absolutely true with all the networks. Plus, they also provide you tried and true business models. I mean, these business models work. You just need, if you're interested, you need to find the one that's going to work right for you, the one that you're interested about, that you're passionate about. I'm very passionate about Radio Shack. That's why I've been so successful. You just need to find that passion and pursue it. Basically, they provide you the clay, as I've been saying. You just need to mold it and fit it to your personality and make it work. And as I mentioned before, you know, besides my family, two great passions of mine, Radio Shack and franchising. The proven track record, I mean, I'm just going to throw out one stat. It's like it's 1 out of every 7 new franchisee is a veteran. That's amazing. Like I say, your military bag of tricks, your VetFran toolkit can equal franchise success. As a veteran, you can choose to use those tools you've acquired, and you can either go fishing or go franchising. And I've chosen to go franchising, and it's been fun and exciting. And there's still more challenges to come. Thanks, everybody.